Hello, Helen here. Welcome to another card on my channel. Today's card I'm going to be stamping a whole lot of stamps with using layering stamps, and then I'm going to make a border which I'm going to cut in half and make two cards out of. I grabbed a whole lot of my Altenew flower stamps out, and I'm going to use some of them. I don't use all that I showed on the film just now. And I'm also going to be using quite a few of my Crisp Ink sets, so I'm going to use the greens, the mauves, the pink and the blues, and I'll go have all the colours that I've used in the description below the video here, and also over on my blog, which the address will be in the video. So the stamps that I ended up using was the Altenew Simple Beauty, the Garden Treasures, the Beautiful Day and the Antique Roses. You could however use any stamp sets you've got. You could even do the colouring in rather than the layering stamps if you don't have those. It's a technique that you can use any stamps that you have. You certainly don't have to go out and buy extra ones. Some of the two sets I used the leaves out of, and then the other it was just the flowers, and I stamped a whole range of colours. I've shown you doing the layering stamps on previous videos if you've watched any of my older videos, but I'll just go over to show you quickly me doing some of them, and then I'll get into how I actually make the border and make the cards. Now, I can't take any credit for this technique. I saw a Jennifer Maguire on her channel do this with some other stamps, and I thought, wow, that would be a good way of using a whole lot of stamps at the same time, so that's what I'm going to do today. But it's definitely credit to her for coming up with the idea. So I went ahead and did all those stamps that I've just shown you, but in various different colours, and then I've fussy cut them out, and I'm ready to start doing the border that I'm going to cut in half. So I've gone ahead and stamped and fussy cut out a whole bunch of different colours of each of the flowers, as I wasn't sure what colours I was going to need. Anything that I've got left over, I'm going to be using the second leftovers for a card for my next video, so they won't go to waste. So I start off with a piece of card that's double my card size, so it's 7 inches by 10 inches, because I do a 5 by 7 inch card, and I've drawn a line down the middle so I can roughly see where it is when I'm laying out my flowers for the border, because that's where I'm going to be cutting the piece in half to make the two card panels. So I'm just going to lay the flowers out, and I spend a lot of time mucking around trying to get quite the right look. I'm putting the Simple Beauty one, the bigger flower, in the middle there, and crossing it over between both sides so that I can have half on one and half on the other, and then I'm just laying the other flowers underneath and on top and tucking some leaves in just until I'm happy with the arrangement. On the right hand side one, I'm just going to go down and go across the bottom a little bit, just to make it a little bit different than just a border. Just for a point of difference, really. Even though I'd stamped the Antique Roses ones, I ended up deciding not to use those because all my other flowers had a dark outline and those don't, and it just didn't look right, so putting them together with the other ones, so I'll end up using those for one of the cards for the next video. You'll see I keep using one of my card bases just to block off one side or the other, just to see how it's going to look when I cut it. Otherwise I can't really see how it's going to look. So with lots of fluffing around and poking leaves in here and there, I decide how I'm going to have it, and then I can start going about gluing them down. And I started gluing the underneath ones down, and then remembered that the technique where you use the press and seal to stick the whole arrangement in one part and then flip it over and glue each level. So that's what I end up doing. So I glue all the ones on the top surface when I flip it over, and then put it back onto my card base or the two panels, and then stick them down, and then flip it back over again and do the next layer and the next layer until I'm got down to the last few, and then I'll put foam tape on the backs of those and just raise them up a little bit. So finally I'm down to the one flower that I want to be on top, so I'll just do that with the foam tape, and then that's the borders done. I ended up cutting the leaf off that was sticking out from the bud just carefully, and then I stuck that on another part of the card just because it was sticking too far out into my card where the sentiment was going to go. So these leftover flowers and leaves I will use in the next video, so they won't go to waste. And I'm ready to just cut the piece in half. Now you do need a guillotine to be able to do the cutting in half, or you could use a craft knife and ruler and just go down through the layers, but a paper trimmer certainly wouldn't work, I don't think, because of the foam tape. So I'm using the Tim Holtz tonic guillotine here, and I'm just going to slice it right in half, and I can see the little pencil piece at the very bottom, so I'm just going to line that up with the guillotine edge, and then using the little square centimetre markings on the other side of the guillotine, I can make sure it's straight, and then I'll just cut it right through. Eek. It feels a bit strange cutting right through the stuff you've just done, but it's for a good cause. Then it's a matter of flipping the pieces over and cutting off any of the flower parts that are overlapping just from the back. The next thing to do before I stick the panels onto my card bases is to do the sentiment, and I'm going to use the Misti so that I don't mess up the card that I've already done, but you'll see that I do, and I'll show you how I'm going to fix it. So I'm using 2 stamp sets to do the sentiments. One's the Altenew Birthday Greetings, and the other's a Simon Says stamp, Thoughtful Messages. So I'm going to use the birthday out of the Simon Says stamp set, and then I've got a stamp set that says It's Your Birthday, and I'm just going to mask off the birthday part and just do It's Your for one stamp, and then the Happy Birthday out of that same set for the second card. And I'm just going to stamp them with Versafine Onyx black ink and not emboss them today. So I'll go ahead and do that, and you'll see that I get It's Your part crooked and also didn't stamp very well. So I go ahead and just stamp the same sentiment with white on some black card, and I'm going to stick that over it so that it hides my mess up. Now, part of my problem was that the stamp wasn't sticking to the Misti lid very well, and that's why it ended up being a little bit crooked because I stuck it back down again. It had lost its stick, so the way of fixing that is to just go and rinse the stamp under a tap, wash it with just water, and then dry it off, and the sticky on the back will come back. So I should have done that, but lesson learnt. Once I've got the stamping of the sentiments done, I can just pretty it up with just a few. I use some flat back pearls, white on one card and just a pale mauve on the other. Stuck them down with the Connect glue, and then they were stuck onto the card bases. Now I should have really done the card bases as soon as I'd done the sentiments. It makes it a little bit more difficult when you've got embellishments that have, got a little bit of thickness to them, but anyway, I got them done. If you're interested in seeing how I use the leftovers of all my flower stamping in the next video, please subscribe and hit the notification bell and you'll get notified when that one's out. Otherwise, we'll see you next in a future video. Bye for now.